All right, so today I wanted to hop in and speak to the team about a concept called health at every size. It's not new, it's been around since like 2000s, mid 2000s. There's a book that is a resource that I'm referencing throughout this presentation, but I'm going to challenge you as an educated, evidence-based healthcare practitioner. Before you recommend weight loss or before you plop someone into an obesity framework based on their weight, I want you to stop and I want you to take a look at this book and take a look at the science and the research. And I want you to base your recommendations on that versus equating weight with health, because it's not something that we can say is directly correlated. And I'm sure you've seen this in your practice. I see lots of referrals that come through. You know, I had a gentleman recently that was close to over 400 pounds. So you would think maybe blood lipids would be off. Everything was within target. And in any situation, when patients are referred to me for weight loss, we're focusing on healthy behavior change. I'm not even bringing weight into the equation a lot of the time. And that might be surprising for you to hear. And hopefully by the end of this short presentation, you'll understand why. Oops. Okay, so health at every size. So obesity is a disease. It's not a moral failing. Okay, so I think a lot of healthcare providers, we need to check our own weight bias before we get in that room with the patient and start a discussion about their weight. So for anyone that's not been in the team since we've kind of started, back in 2007, 2008, I started to run a healthy lifestyles program, which was a 12-week program initially based on a model from the Hamilton Family Health Team. And then eventually over time, it reduced to about 6 weeks. At the beginning of that program, we were taking weight, BMI, as measurements to prove our outcomes for the Ministry of Health. But over time, we stopped doing that because I really wanted that program to focus on health behaviors and not be seen as a diet in the grand scheme of things, because that's often doing more harm than good. So you might be ready to turn off and stop listening because you might be like, yeah, this is so wrong, but just give me a few more minutes of your time. So what is health at every size? Health at every size, or short form HAES, is a paradigm based on the concept that health is multidimensional and it's not just about weight. So it's an approach to health and wellness that focuses on understanding and respecting the diversity of body shapes and sizes, prioritizing health and well-being rather than weight loss. And HAES is based on the understanding that health is not a fixed state, but rather a process of living a fulfilling life. It encourages people to focus on lifestyle behaviors. So again, back to that healthy lifestyles example, that promote well-being, such as eating in response to physical hunger. So we're really focused on getting people back to listening to their body cues, satisfaction cues, becoming more physically active in ways that are enjoyable. So doing something they enjoy versus just, trudging away at the gym. And emphasizing body acceptance, self-care, and honoring diversity. We could eat the exact same food as someone else, do the exact same activity, and have a different body weight and a different body shape, right? So we need to honor that diversity. It's not a trend. This is the book that I would encourage you. I challenge each and every one of you to read this book, because it's an evidence-based approach to healthcare that focuses on supporting the overall health of individuals, regardless of shape or size. It doesn't promote a particular weight or shape, but it encourages people to focus on taking care of their bodies and their minds through movement, healthy eating, and self-care. It's not a trend, but a movement that aims to bring awareness to the stigma and discrimination faced by people of all sizes to promote overall health and well-being. So I want you to think about it this way. You have a patient come into your office presenting with some kind of ailment or illness, right? If you're in the frame of mind of, oh, I'm gonna, funnel referrals into different programs at the team to give the patients the best support. Totally get that. But if they came in for one thing and then we're going to focus and say, oh, you're not feeling well, but oh, did you also know that you're obese and we have these resources available? Quite often that is discrimination based on body shape. And also we'll lose that patient. They won't come back if they feel like all they're being seen for is their weight, even when they present with a different issue. So I want you to think about that when you have patients come in. The science of weight regulation directly contradicts cultural assumptions as well as those promoted by the experts. Okay, and if you just saw the pediatric recommendations for the states, they came out in the last few weeks, I guess. Now they're focusing on putting kids as young as 2 on diet. It doesn't work. And I'm going to talk to you about why and how disappointing it is that they've switched, because they've kind of had a watch and see approach. Yeah, with kids, I don't ever focus on weight loss. We focus on the eating behaviors, right? And often those behaviors are more in the parental control, right, versus the kids. And we know that weight and overeating is often stemming from other issues, right? It's not just about the food piece. So yeah, I remember a previous colleague being quite concerned when I said, I don't hand out diets. Yeah, that's not what I do. I can help people eat to support their energy. So I might show them a pattern that works to do that, or, to control their blood sugar. I'll help them with that as well. And that might mean altering their macros. But at the end of the day, how we feel about our body and how that translates to the food that we're eating has very little to do with food, right? So I look at stress and sleep and activity and nourishment, but it's looking at the whole person, right? If I was just looking at people based on what they ate yesterday, and I'll go through an exercise where we talk about specific meals and what's eaten, but I'm not just looking at that. I have to take into account the whole person, just like you do when you're doing an assessment. Weight gain is in part a biologically induced result of the dietary habits that dieting activity activates thrifty genes, okay, that induce weight gain. So both it increases your hunger drive and decreases your metabolism and triggers other weight gain mechanisms beyond your conscious control. So our bodies are smart. Your body is simply doing its best to support you. So I'm going to give you some examples of where I've seen this with patients from our very clinic, but also some of the examples that she uses they use in the text to support the health at every size approach. So I had a client recently come to see me. I was off for a few years on medical leave, but I had followed this client for a few years before I had left. So it's probably been 4 years since I've worked with this client. I'm working with them through, phone assessment. So I can't see them. So I don't know about their weight, but like I said, that doesn't really impact my approach or how much I can help them. I can help every client. But we talked about, for a while, we talked about her food intake and how she was feeling, and her blood sugar, her diabetes was actually like much improved, actually not even measuring as having diabetes anymore. And it came to my attention at some point during the assessment that she'd gone through the Ottawa Hospital weight management program. She lost over 100 pounds. I think she's like mid or late 20s. I can't remember exactly what her age is, but she lost that weight in the last 4 years. Now she's regaining it and she is starving all the time. Calorically, when we look at her intake, she's actually not eating that much, but that decrease in food intake over that time of the program, where it's maybe 800 calories a day on those 4 shakes a day that they'll do for the rapid weight loss, it doesn't teach people how to eat. And also it plays with the set point. So the set point for our body is the healthy weight that your body aims for, right? It's a biological force. So it's gets stronger the further away you go from center, from what this set point is for your body. So undereating sets you up for brain activity that produces an urge to eat. Oops, typo there. Way beyond the ability of food to satisfy your hunger. So it makes sense that even though she's eating low calorie now, she's hungry all the time. And when we look at some of the research in the book, Health at Every Size, around set point theory, it's really kind of amazing and very interesting. And what I wanted to share with you today to finish off this short presentation is when they took a look at people. So sorry, I'm just trying to find the page that I was referencing. So what they did was they took 100 people that had pretty stable weights for the last 6 months. Okay, so that would make you assume that they're around their set point. They're pretty stable. They weren't doing anything drastic food or exercise wise to maintain that weight. They took 100 people, then they had them come into a hospital setting. So, all the food and everything was the same. And they tried to induce 10% weight loss in each person. So they did do that. And when they produced the 10% weight loss, they noticed that their metabolism, 10% weight gain to start. And they noticed the metabolism sped up by 15% to account for that, to try to get them back to their set point. They then did the same thing and they aimed for 10% weight loss, achieved that. And they also noticed the exact same response of not increasing metabolism by 15%, but losing 10% of body weight away from set point actually reduced their metabolism by up to 15%. So we're putting these people in weight management programs where they're focused on, rapid weight loss in ways that aren't sustainable, that can actually lower that set point. And then when they come out 5-10 years down the line, they're having problems maintaining that weight and they feel like they're a failure. I had another example of a client. She's in her 50s, another patient at the clinic, same thing. And she did the Ottawa hospital program twice. And each time she lost 50 or 60 pounds and maintained it for a few years. But when she regained that and more. Okay, so set point, health at every size. If you're going to recommend weight loss or put someone on an obesity pathway, I want you to read Health at Every Size. I want you to read it and understand it. And hopefully it helps you maybe frame it a bit different or see your patient for someone who's really just coming to us for support. And by making them feel wrong about something that their body's just doing to keep them safe, I don't feel like that's really giving them support. Okay, neither I'm not going to suggest that we have our clients read Health at Every Size. It's inappropriate, in my opinion, to have someone come to us for a question or support and then to send them away to watch a documentary or read a book like The Obesity Code. Let's educate them in a way that works. So when the patients come to me, they're often really confused, overwhelmed by a lot of the information that they've gotten from really well-meaning health providers. But that's where I come in and I start with one thing that we can do now that can make you feel better. And in January, worst time to work with people around weight loss. It's not that they really want weight loss. It's not even achievable, but it's what culture is telling them, right? But what I focus on and what I've been using a lot in the past few weeks is a tool that I've developed in my private practice called Healthy Habit Tracker. So I get that person to pick one thing that they're already doing well and start to track that. That gives us feedback that we're doing well, and that encourages us to continue. Can we change other things, other health behaviors at the same time? Yes. But it's the health behavior, not the body weight, that determines the health of the individual. All right, I hope that was helpful. I'll be coming back in another meeting to present on intuitive eating. I'll probably pre-record it as well. I just find it easier. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Thank you.